Hi guys, and today I'm going green, quite literally I'm wearing a green shirt. And we're here actually to try out the new Chevrolet Bolt EV behind us, as you can see. Now I'm very much a petrol head. I've got octane running through my veins right here. So I'm a little bit of an electric car skeptic. So today is my first opportunity to have a go in this important new car for our market. Why is it important? They're saying like 30% of new car buyers, according to their survey, are interested in going greens, would consider an EV because of environmental concerns. And of course in the UAE, they want to go 10% of the market by 2020. So it is quite a crucial car. Now Chevrolet have previous on this. They've been doing this a while. They introduced the Chevrolet Volt in 2011 and then a full EV with the Spark EV a couple of years later. Now that car had a 130-kilometer range. This thing behind me has got a 520-kilometer range. Now other things I can tell you about it, it's got 204 brake horsepower from an electric motor. The battery pack is lower down in the car, so they keep the center of gravity quite low, free up interior space and improve the handling. But it's a heavy thing, 1,600 kilograms. Having said that, it'll do 0 to 100 in about 7.3 seconds, and I will be putting that to the test today to see if it actually does that. Cars are expected to start to go on sale towards the end of this year, around December, prices to be confirmed. But the main thing about it is to see, how does this car actually drive? You know, how much do you have to adapt your driving style? And this is what I'm going to be finding out today. So guys, we've driven the car about 250 kilometers today, right here up to Fujairah. And in fact, according to the 520 or so range, there should be half a tank left. Tank, I say tank because it's an electric car, so it's not really a tank, but it's half the battery pack. And in fact, looking at the display now, it is pretty much showing that. So what have I learned? What's the car been like to drive? Well, actually, it drives like a modern hot hatchback, really. You know, it's actually pretty quick. It drives really well. What I would like to do is to take it on some of my favorite little twisty roads to see how it handles, because one of the things I felt about it was it's got a very stiff chassis, a very stiff setup at the lower part. And of course, the batteries are along the floor down there and just below the rear seat. So the center of gravity of the car is very low, and you do get the sense that actually it would be quite nice around corners just to check it around. Performance, like I said, is fantastic. The interesting thing is that you do have to relearn your driving style a little bit. You do have to adapt your driving style, because you can put it in one of two modes. You can have a normal drive mode, in which you drive it like a normal car, or you can have it in an L mode. And that's not low ratio as you would get in an off-roader, but there's a special mode in this car where basically the throttle pedal becomes your brake and throttle. So you're effectively driving it with just the one pedal. So the moment you start to lift off, you start to brake. In fact, you can come to a complete halt by doing that. And another way of doing that is in fact leaving it in drive, and there's a paddle, there's a regen paddle just behind the steering on the left, and effectively you can use that for braking. And all of these things, what they're actually doing is recharging the battery. So one of the things that we found, and this is the thing that you find when you drive this car, is you start to get into this constant tussle with yourself about whether to enjoy the performance or to try and eke out the maximum charge, the maximum range from the car. And one of the things you find by using that regen mode on the pedal and also on the paddle that's behind the steering wheel is you can eke back some kilometers. So effectively, we went the last half an hour, 45 minutes, and actually gained about 10 kilometers. So we effectively didn't lose any mileage, we actually gained mileage. And to some extent, it'd be interesting to see that if you were beginning to run out of of charge, how much further you could go just by doing that. Allegedly, I've been told it's up to 30%. So a very interesting experience with the car. Am I sold on it? Am I convinced on it? Well, as a car in itself, yes, quite possibly. But the whole experience of the electric car, I think, still will take some adapting to, because you've got to start to get into that mindset, and you've got to start to think about the fact that you're driving an electric car. There's less of an anxiety when you have a range as much as this. Like I said, it's well over 500 kilometers, but you still have to think ahead and think about how you're driving it and what you're doing, and then you get into that mentality of trying to be super efficient about it. And then of course there is the whole scope of the infrastructure, which I think will still take a little while to develop in this market. But a fantastic experience to drive this car today in real world situations, but also it'd be good to get the car again and to have a little bit more time experimenting with all the technology on the car, and also to see how it really handles. So stay tuned, we'll try and bring you a more detailed review soon. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed that. Please do leave your comments below and elsewhere about what you thought about the review or the car, and don't forget to follow us on motoringme.com, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and of course YouTube. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please do like, share, and subscribe. And you know what? Don't forget to follow me as well on Instagram. See you there.